So today we are going to talk about extension functions in Kotlin. Many times in our code, we would want to modify the external files which are not part of our source code, right? So we would want to add more functionality to the external classes which are not in our project. So Java doesn't provide us any way we could add functionality to the external classes. We can use some patterns like adapter pattern or decorator pattern, but to use those patterns, we have to write a lot of code. Uh, so which might not be the best use of our time. And suppose we have to do this very frequently, this pushes us to write a lot of code using those patterns. Many of the JVM languages, which are higher level languages, provide ways to extend the external classes and allow us to extend them and add functionality to them. So Kotlin provides one such way, which is known as extension functions. So let's look at the code and see what extension functions are. So here we added a couple of classes and interface. So the interface is fruit and it has a sweetness index. And the two classes which extend from fruit are apple and mango. So they have different sweetness index based on the sweetness. Let's add some more code so that we can easily follow the scenario. In what cases do we need to use extension functions? So here we also write enumeration, which tells that what is the sweetness level based on the index we pass. So if the index is between 0 to 30, it's going to say that it's less sweet. And if the index is between 30 to 60, it would say that it's normal. Otherwise, it would say it's very sweet. So let's write a client of this code, and then we'll try to see that in what cases do we need to use extension functions. So if you see here, one way to get apple sweetness level is from the sweetness level using .from index and passing the sweetness index. So other nice way would be if you could just call like apple, we could just call apple dot right. So if you could do this, this is much cleaner as compared to doing it in this way, right? Again, this is a contrived example. This might not just relate to the real scenario, but this is just one example where we can try to understand it, right? So maybe we want to do the same for mango also. So we could do that using extension functions. So let's look at that. So if you see here, we did like fruit dot get sweetness level, right? So this is the extension function which we add to this interface. So we could add it to an interface, or we could add it to any of the classes and all. So here we return a sweetness level. So if you see, like this is fixed now, and we could also do the same for mango, right? So we say mango, right? And then we could say get sweetness level, right? So you can see, like, we are not modifying like either original fruit, or we are not modifying mango or apple classes, but we have been able to add a method to any of the fruits, right? Fruit, any of the classes that implement fruit. So this, like, we don't have to write a lot of code, like just a couple of lines of code, and we have been able to achieve it. So this makes like our code very clean, and we could just and it makes it very specific to our project. So one thing to notice here is that we are using the properties of fruit by referring to this. So by using this keyword, we could either refer to properties or methods, right, which is within the extension class or interface we are extending. Other thing to keep in mind is that the extension functions, they are resolved statically. So let's take the example and try to understand what do we mean by resolving statically. So if you see now, like both of these apple, the green apple, and also like in both of the cases we create a green apple, but in the first case we have added the type as apple, right? Because green apple extends from apple, and in the second one we have just added the type as green apple itself. So let's run this. So when we run this, right, we see in the first case the color is printed as red, right? In the second case, the color is printed as green, and the reason it's red is because when we call get color, it is called on the type apple, right? And on the apple we had red, and on the second one it is called on the green apple type, and the color is green in this case, right? So this is what we mean by the extension functions are resolved statically. They don't depend upon the actual type, right? So in case if the higher level class or the extending class, they both have the same method, it would all depend upon what type is declared. So we have to be a bit careful when we write a code, because this could lead to hard to find bugs. So that are the primary things that we have about extension functions.